Hi, welcome here. This is a series all about CPP, Canadian Pension Plan, and specifically about the timing of CPP, because the timing of CPP is one of the most important decisions you will make for your retirement plan. This is going to be a three-part series. I'm going to explore not only the basics of CPP, what it is that we're actually talking about when making a timing decision, but I'm going to outline the pros and the cons of taking it at age 60, 65, and 70. Now, if you've seen me on the main channel, you know I'm a fan of delaying CPP, but there are some very real, very good reasons why you would not delay to 70. We're going to explore those. We're going to explore the pros and cons, because the further I get into this industry, the more I realize my job is not to tell you what to do. My job is to outline the pros and cons of every side of a decision so that you can apply those to your situation. This is a YouTube channel that goes out to all kinds of different people. We have to make certain generalizations here that may or may not apply to your situation. This series is meant to kind of help explore those different things. Now, this is the first in this three-part series that you're watching. Please just continue on. If this is not the first in this three-part series that you're watching, you can skip to this time and get through the introduction, because it's the same intro for all three. So, without any further ado, welcome to K4's newest channel. Let's get started. All right, so first off, what is CPP? CPP, or Canadian Pension Plan, is an inflation-protected, government-backed pension income source from the government. I refer to pension income sources like CPP and OAS as foundational income sources. Foundational income sources are what we build your retirement income house on. What makes it foundational? It is not linked to a market, and it's reliable. CPP. OAS, maybe you have a pension, maybe you have access to GIS, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But CPP is definitely a foundational income source. Now, what are we talking about with timing? Just to make sure we're on the same page. So the maximum, as of the filming of today, the maximum CPP benefit you could be receiving is just a hair over $1,300 per month. The average CPP pensioner is taking $775 a month, which works out to about 60%. So I'll compare numbers at that 60% value. So if you are taking CPP early, you are penalized 0.6% per month before your 65th birthday, up to a maximum penalty of 36%. So if you were to take it at 60, you were assuming an average of $775 by 65. Your 60-year-old benefit would be $496. Now, on the flip side, you can wait beyond 65 and you're rewarded 0.7% per month after your 65th birthday, up to a maximum reward of 42%. The reward is larger than the penalty if you take it early, which is important to note as well. And for the average person expecting $775 at age 65, that will turn into $1,100 per month. So either direction, it's a pretty big difference that you're choosing between at that point. All right, so let's get into the specifics of why you would take CPP at 70. And again, for those of you who know me from the K4 main channel, you know this is a bias of mine. This is what I recommend to a lot of people. When I make my recommendations to clients, I use math to back up my recommendations, and the math almost always suggests that 70 is the way to go on here. I know math and psychology don't always line up, so it's not 100% that I recommend it. However, here are some of the stronger rationales that I have for delaying CPP to 70. All right, number one, you have the assets to carry you through your 60s to age 70. And this comes back to a concept in finance called the fungibility of money. And essentially what that boils down to is by the time a dollar is in your hand, a dollar is a dollar. You can spend it just the same. Whether it came from CPP or RRSPs or TFSAs, it doesn't matter by the time it lands in your hands. So when I'm with my clients, I'm looking at their overall picture and I'm trying to find efficiencies for their situation. I'm trying to find the most amount of cash flow that we can bring into their hand, whether it be, again, from their investments or from the government sources. So that's where I'm looking. And so sometimes it does make sense to say, you know what, we're going to trade using your investments in your 60s, leaning more on those in your 60s for this more robust government-backed income in your 70s, 80s, and potentially 90s. Which actually leads me to point 2, and that's the flexibility of delaying your CPP to 70. And bear with me for a second. So when we make recommendations to our clients, we have no illusions that everything is going to be followed to the letter. We're not setting these things in stone. What we're trying to do is create options and to create thought about what the different things are that we're doing. And in the case of delaying CPP to 70, you're opening yourself up to the option of taking it at a different point if needed. So if you desire and anticipate taking CPP at 70, and you happen to be, let's say, 67, and you're having an annual review with K4, which is part of the process that we go through with our clients, and the markets are extremely turbulent, let's bring CPP in. It's like reinforcements on horseback coming in. You have the option at that point to bring it in and break that recommendation because of the conditions that you're in at that time. Now, if the markets are steady during that time, great. Then you delay to 70 and then you start it at 70. It's no problem. Number 3, you want to have the largest foundational income sources possible. So foundational income sources, just to go over that again, is income sources that are not linked to a market and are reliable. CPP, OAS, GIS, defined benefit pensions. These are really the things that I would consider foundational income sources. And if you want to maximize that stable income source, delaying your CPP is one of the easiest ways to do that. And finally, number 4, you want to protect against the risk of living longer than you're anticipating. Delaying CPP is a great way to do that. Today's medical system is not perfect, but it's better than it was yesterday. And yesterday was better than the day before. And it continues to increase. And life expectancy continues to increase. And I maybe have been quite biased in this. I've seen many of my relatives live to very old ages. My wife's grandmother is in her hundreds right now. And so maybe I'm slightly biased on that. But if you look at the way our system is going and life expectancy is continuing to get longer, I believe that it's a larger risk that you will live longer than you're anticipating than you dying younger than you're anticipating. So if you want to protect against that risk, delaying CPP is a great way to do so. All right, back to the pros and cons list. First pro, you have the highest overall CPP cumulative income, assuming you live to 83 or beyond. You protect against the risk of living longer than you're anticipating, and you maximize the foundational income sources that you're receiving in your 70s and your 80s. Cons, you have to lean more on your investments in your 60s. You may miss out on CPP if you die unexpectedly. That is an absolutely valid and real risk. And the third con, your friends will think you're nuts. I know that less than 1% of Canadians take CPP at 70. So I know that you'll be in small company. And if I was a betting man of that less than 1%, I bet you half of them just simply forgot to fill out their paperwork. So yes, you'll be in rare company if you deliberately wait on your CPP to 70, but I believe there's a lot of really good reasons for that. Now, that was a ton of information. But if you want to see how this fits in with your retirement plan, we would love to hear from you. Click on this link here that brings you to our contact form. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Take care.